let's talk about grades. Because we have them. Alright, so starting off right away, the grades from last week's game are actually pretty good for the most part. And a lot of the reasons why is because, guess what? Our offensive line was actually really freaking good. Even though, yes, we had our mistakes, we had our problems, they were pretty good. Zach Moss, if you're wondering why we got rid of Joe Mixon, why, we didn't keep him, that's why. 13 pass blocking snaps, 76.2 pass blocking grade. We have two options, okay? We could have kept Joe Mixon and fired Frank Pollock, right? Or keep Frank Pollock, get rid of Joe Mixon, and get Zach Moss, who can be a great pass blocker. Because if your Frank Pollock doesn't work and can't develop your offensive line, just get some running back second pass block. And Chase Brown and Zach Moss are perfect options in that department. So that's really what we did. We said, you know what? We can keep Joe Mixon, fire Frank Pollock, or say it's not a problem and just get another pass blocker to use in the backfield with Drew Sample to protect Joe Burrow. And we did that. And he did very, very well. We talked about this in an offensive line breakdown video, but he was able to pick up a lot of different blocks that he needed to, and he actually worked alongside Trent Brown to pick up Chris Jones as much as possible. And Chris Jones had 0 sacks versus Joe Burrow. So this is why we got rid of Joe Mixon. It is what it is, You got to protect your quarterback. And we decided to go with that. Now, could they just instead go with a better offensive line coach? Absolutely. They could also have pigs fly out of my butt. They're just not going to do it. So, they're going to say, Frank Pollock, you're good, Betty. Joe Mixon, you can't pass block. You're gone. So, yeah. So, that's really what it is. It's just a pass blocking running back core. Alex Kappa, good. Eric All looked really good in this performance, which is funny because who was it who said this? I forget which announcer. Oh no, it was Dan Orlovsky who said that we don't have pass blocking tight ends. 66.1 and 70.8 versus one of the best defenses in the NFL. I will take that as a W. Trent Brown really showed off 69.6 after having a really bad week 1. Looked really good week 2. Teddy K, 67.5. Orlando Brown, 66.5. Mike Gesicki, Andre, Drew Sample, not the best blocker it looks like in this week. Cordell Volson, my man! Okay, I watched the film of him. We broke it down. We went through it. I think 11 might be a little ridiculous of a grade. I think he did a lot better than 11. I think 11 might be a little crazy. For the most part, he had one play where the guy just ran right through him. Like, the guy just ran right through Cordell Volson. It was like a drive-through worker. But other than that, he didn't look too atrocious. He gave up 5 pass rushes, 3 hurries, 1 quarterback hit, and 1 sack in the end, which was split up between 2 players. 2 players got 0.5. Yeah, he didn't have a good week. He had a really good week 1 and not a good week 2. For the most part, again, like I said, I didn't see anything too atrocious that I would give him an 11. I really thought going into this that, if anything, Cordell Volson at the lowest, and I mean the lowest of lowest, I would think maybe he has like a 40 or 50. Like, the lowest I thought would be 40 or 50. I thought, realistically speaking, if I had to give him a grade based on breaking down the performance, breaking down the clip, and watching every play, I would probably put him in the ballpark range of maybe like a 60 or a 58. And I think that's kind of more realistic. I think 11 is just an absolute that's just overdone. I don't agree with that in any way. Obviously, PFF has a better track record than me when it comes to giving grades to players, but I highly disagree with that completely. I think that's a little overzealous. Run blocking, Drew Sample. That's why we have him as a fullback. Orlando Brown, 62.6. Trent Brown, 62. Jamar Chase, 60.8. Our worst run blocker was Eric All, but we're not really expecting him to do too much in the run blocking department. Cordell Volson was one of our worst offensive linemen behind Teddy K this week for run blocking. Teddy K coming in at 52.5. Again, we did also use Cody Ford on 5 plays. I don't even remember using him on 5 plays, but apparently we did. Yeah, our run blocking grades did not look good. We did run the ball, not as efficiently as we would like to, and that's something we have to consistently get better at, especially when it comes to, going for a playoff run. You have to have a good run game and a good pass game, but also a really good run game. Our run defense, Jermaine Pratt came in at a 90.9. Mike Hilton, a 77.9. Geno Stone, a 75.8. And Von Bell, a 75.8. I wish we could see what Jordan Battle did, but sadly, Jordan Battle only played 1 snap. So, because of that, we don't really get a chance to actually see anything from him. I don't know what he did. He did something bad. Zach Carter was definitely the weak link, and as you can see, Sheldon Rankins also not looking good, 32.9. Logan Wilson had a tough week at a 34. Jay had a 39. It's really bad when all your defensive tackles are at the very bottom of this list, outside of BJ Hill. This shows that definitely you need Jordan Battle in there, as you need to have help in the run game and run support. And Jordan Battle is a really good run support safety. But for some reason, we decide that does not need to happen. Trey Hendrickson has a fantastic week as always, which is not really that surprising. Back-to-back great weeks. Logan Wilson also looked good. Outside of that, though, kind of a mixed bag on the rest of these guys on being that good or bad. Kind of middle of the pack. No one did awful, but no one really did anything special. So kind of keeping on that narrative of we need this someone to step up outside of Trey Hendrickson, and it seems like that did not happen this week. Even though our defense played great, we still didn't get that pass rush we need. Keem Davis-Gaither led the team in coverage with 8 coverage snaps. He had a 91.9 coverage grade. DJ Turner only played 6 snaps, but he did look very good, including an interception that was called back due to a penalty. Cam Taylor-Britt, a 90.2, including an interception. Logan Wilson, a 77.8. Dax Hill, 68.6. And the worst coverage grade went to Anthony, who actually, of course, drew the final penalty, which lost us the game. But that was, again, he was not the reason we lost, but that was what put the nail in the coffin. Mike Hilton was our 2nd lowest grade, and Geno Stone actually our 3rd lowest grade. So definitely not what you want to see. Punting. We had 2 total punts, and out of those 2 punts, we netted 42.5 yards. Not the greatest, but it is what it is. We have a new punter. He is learning all the good stuff. And not kickoffs, actually. Let me do kick and punt returns. Kick and punt returns, Chuck Sizzle, Chase Brown, and Travion Williams all had 1 each of kick and punt returns. Chuck Sizzle had 1 punt return, and then the other 2 were kick returns. Overall wise, not the greatest. Charlie Jones, used his dead name right there. It is what it is. Alright, so what else we got here? We got pressure and depth. So this is, okay, so these are all the numbers here. So for example, 1 out of 2, outside left between the numbers and outside right. I'm going to go ahead and I'll take off my face here. And the reason why is so we can actually see this a little bit better. So starting off right away, we were 1 for 4 between the numbers within 10 to 20 yards. 1 for 3 for 19 yards. On the left-hand side, right-hand side, we had 0 for 1. We only took 2 shots deep, which was 20-plus yards, and that was 1 for 2 with the Jermaine Burton catch. Everything else was behind the 10 yards slash behind the line of scrimmage, which is kind of what we expect overall wise. Which is kind of what we talked about yesterday, so I'm not going to go too far into that. Receiver wise, Mike Gesicki. It looks like he did his best work when he was, yeah, okay. So I see, they're basing it off of how many yards you get and also how many receptions you get. I mean, overall wise, again, like I said, it's a good, it was a good win. I mean, loss, not win. Still think we should have won. Anyway, it was a good game. No matter what way you look at it, it was a game that showed us that we are truly, we're back. We're back. We're ready to go. We're gonna have a fantastic season, and for that, I'm very happy about. Cordell Volson was our worst offensive player of the week, which does suck. Our worst defensive player of the week does go to Anthony. Out of all of our players, he does come in here at 23.3. We potentially will be picking up other defensive tackles on free agency, which I will talk about later today. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are indeed new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.